Welcome everyone. So we're finally ready to start the basic emptiness teaching for for today. We had so many questions from yesterday. We wanted to be able to start with a question and answer session from Venerable Tempe Gyaltsen in order to add clarity as we head into some deeper teachings with Rinpoché today. From Dolpopa's view on the Other-Emptiness. So if you have some questions from yesterday's teaching that you would like clarity on, can you add them now to the question and answer area in the Zoom application, or if you are on Facebook, you can add them in the comment section. You can add questions in your own language, and our translators will translate the questions for you. So I'm just going to give a moment for people to add any questions they had from yesterday's teaching into the question and answer section. Let's see. And while we take a moment for people to think of any questions, Venerable Tempe Gyaltsen, would you mind helping to just add some clarity to something that caused quite a bit of confusion last night? And that is the idea of the two truths. So could you just give a little bit of a simple overview for people on what these two truths are? Let's try to make it simple, I know, in this short time, so that we can have some grounding as we further our discussion.
Okay, I'll try. No guarantees. The basic idea of the two truths is recognizing that there is a difference between what appears and what is. This is a very basic idea. And what the Buddha is saying is that that which appears to us is not ultimately true. But it is true from one perspective. And this is then elaborated on through many, many teachings. What he calls ultimate truth is actual truth, actual reality. That which is known by the omniscient mind of a Buddha. When all of the afflictive mind is removed, when all of the obscurations are removed, what is left over is absolute truth. When all of confusion is gone, all that is left is truth. But until that point, there are many, many, many layers of perspectives that we can discuss. And this is the realm of relative truth. Relative truth is relative because it depends, or is related to, the perspective of the being who is experiencing it. So the world that I experience is from my perspective, my point of reference. The world that a dog experiences, for instance, is from their perspective. Each and every one of us while there are similarities between our worlds, we still experience it from a unique perspective. And so when Rinpoche talked yesterday about many levels, there are many levels within relative truth. What is true for me may not necessarily be true from a different perspective. So this means that relative truth is only called truth in a kind of loose way, because it can be true in one situation and then false in another. And this will be something that Rinpoche is going to elaborate a lot on today, is this basic distinction between relative and ultimate truth. Because the classic problem or mistake that people make is that we don't go far enough. We take a provisional step, a stepping stone towards the ultimate truth. We take that to be the ultimate. We don't see the reference point. We don't see the relative component of it. And we think that this is it. I've reached it. And this is where Dolpopa is very, very skilled in clearly distinguishing that ultimate from all of the many layers of relative truth. So this is in a nutshell, this concept. Chloe?
Yes, wonderful. We are waiting to see if anyone else still has any other points they would like clarified from yesterday's discussion. So we'll just give another moment as people join us to see if there are any more aspects. One other thing that I think was that kind of is part of what you've been discussing that came up yesterday is some people were a little confused seeing the two truths as the same truth or as two sides of the same thing. And so we're having a hard time seeing them as a separate aspect. Can you talk a little bit about this?
This is a common problem that comes up when you learn a particular way of thinking about something, what we call acquired knowledge. So most of us, some of us may have an instinct for these two truths, but often we encounter them within a philosophical system. And so we get used to learning about these ideas in a particular way. And this idea of the two truths being one nature, two aspects, from within one philosophical system, this is how it's used. This is how it's described. From another philosophical system, this is not an accurate description. And therefore, if we learned within one system this way of describing things, then it's like we have to relearn in order to understand a different way of thinking. This is one of the big criticisms that Dolpopa places on the Rangtong interpretation of ultimate reality. And as Rinpoche will clarify further through the writings of Dolpopa, Dolpopa makes a very clear distinction between ultimate and relative. This is not coming just from Dolpopa, but coming from the Buddha, the Bodhisattva Maitreya, the Buddha before him, a Sangha after, and so forth. The idea, the essential idea that we need to investigate is, can conventional reality, can a conventional perspective arise at the same time as the experience of the ultimate? And so Dolpopa says no. These are clear and distinct realms of experience. This is very hard to hear from if you've been, if you've acquired this perspective that sees them as one side, or one nature with two aspects. So it generates a lot of confusion in the beginning. However, the key to understanding this is simply becoming more precise with what we are including within ultimate truth and what we are including within conventional truth. That's why it's so important to distinguish clearly the two truths. Because when you go deeper into this ultimate nature, you see that both the imputed nature and the dependent nature are both part of conventional relative truths. And only the fully established nature is ultimate. But I will leave that distinction for Rinpoche to make, because I think he's going to do it much clearer than I could. And this is one of the subjects he'll be looking at.
Okay, we have another question. Isn't ultimate truth simply emptiness?
The question is, what type of emptiness? The ultimate truth is emptiness, yes. But an emptiness means that there is something that is empty of something else. Often the mistake is to think that the ultimate is a mere absence. This is again a distinction that Dolpopa challenges quite strongly. There's a very big difference between suchness, the nature of reality, and the mere absence of imputed nature. So, when the Buddha taught emptiness, he taught many types. And again, when we speak of conventional truth, there are many, many, many levels. So he taught many types of emptiness for many types of conventional perspectives, many types of minds. But the only emptiness which is experienced by a Buddha is what is known as great emptiness or sublime emptiness. And if you study very clearly the teachings of the third turning, you come to understand that great emptiness is a very different type of phenomena than regular emptiness, the mere absence of things. And so while they have the same name, we must learn how to clearly distinguish what type of emptiness is being described. Okay.
Okay, for the next question, we spent a little bit of time pointing yesterday to different scientific explanations to help us clarify emptiness, and many people thank you. You did send in some examples, which we appreciate very much that you found. So thank you for that. Could you try to clarify a little bit through some science or through a scientific example a little bit more? For instance, the Cittamātra view or the emptiness aspect through science.
Cittamātra is essentially an idealist worldview, which in Western terminology means that mind is the fundamental basis upon which all of experience arises, or all of reality arises. Materialism is the belief in an external reality that substantially exists independent of minds. When we speak of Newtonian physics or classical physics, this is generally knowledge which has been developed by working with matter and the things that we observe in our reality as it is right now. And a great deal of benefit has come from that study. However, in Newtonian physics, there is no great need to discuss the role of mind, because it appears that everything is functioning independent of mind. It appears that these atoms and these light waves are moving without any need of any external mental influence. And if we look at what appears as the mind at that level, these thoughts and emotions and so forth, they don't seem to have much impact on this external world. I can think really hard and I don't transform the table. I don't move things around with my mind. So it seems like there's not very much connection. But if we go deeper, then we discover there is more connection than initially appears. And this is what quantum physics is starting to unveil. And I say starting because there are still a lot of steps to be made before science is able to capture the understanding of what the mind is capable of. There are many barriers that need to be dissolved. But what quantum physics shows us is that on a very small scale, mind has a very important role. This famed observer, which is science's way of talking about mind, a subject. And what's very interesting is that it is not direct thought that is necessarily causing quantum fields to collapse into particles and so forth. They speak of the passive observer. Now, these concepts are very new to science. First, the idea that mind has any impact on subtle physical phenomena. This is a new idea that they are working with processing. But the Cittamātra view is actually more subtle than that. Because if I still believe that there are particles and that there are waves and that there is energy on one side, and then equally there is some sort of separate observer thing, then these two are very separate. And I still give weight to one or the other. And what Buddhism is starting to move towards is bringing these together. The Cittamātra view says that this is all appearances of the mind, both the objective appearances, which behave like we observe, and the subjective appearances. But all of this is classified as mind. And therefore they are of one nature. This step is very important for modern science to experience and to integrate this idea that mind is a much bigger phenomena than what they are describing as thoughts and emotions and so forth that are closely tied to the brain. Okay? So Cittamātra would, for science to fully embrace this viewpoint, they would have to understand that the essence of all reality is mind, and that from within that universal mind arises the appearances of an external world and the individuals arising in that world. They would essentially need to take an idealist perspective for understanding all of the phenomena that they have described so far in science. And this is a major shift. But if they do that, then they create the opportunity to unite that and to achieve a middle way philosophy, a Madhyamika philosophy, which is deeper and more balanced than the Cittamātra view. So with that, I am going to pass it off to, pass the baton to a much wiser man than myself, who is going to share with us not only his own wisdom, but the wisdom of Dolpopa. So thank you and welcome, Rinpoché.
Thank you, Timpi Gyaltsen, and welcome to Rinpoché. For those of you who have more thoughts on science to share, we'll be having an ongoing conversation with this over time, so you can email in your thoughts. To welcome Rinpoché for the teachings, we'll do the prayers to request teachings. So
maybe do not do prayers.
No,
We
no.
lost some time.
Okay, no prayers today. Okay.
Well, we just go for refuge and say, okay,
Okay.
please request wonderful Zhentong teachings from you. Thank you, Rinpoché.
Good, thank you.
I do very short prayer. Chunkro Sanji Gomba Jibjan Jadevji Tanya So I hope Thambi Gyaltsen made more clarified from the of my talks. So that's my hope. Why? Because firstly, I don't know the terms of the science, but not only terms, but also I have very little knowledge of science, and probably smaller than primary school, much more small than actually primary school, the knowledge of science. But I said last night, I told you everybody, I'm just a reminder. You already have the knowledge of the science, everybody has. Even you think no, but you have more than me. And even you forgotten, so easy for you to discover. So you consider as that your scientific, the scientific discovers and your knowledge of that considered as like tool to understand the emptiness, or you can say the tool to understand, or at least to believe the ultimate truth, or believe the Buddha nature. Okay, that's my point. Please don't forget. I also told you, remember, then why scientists don't realize emptiness? The only they don't realize emptiness because that's their no main purpose. That is their no main focus. That is their not motivated way. Not that is not their reason of motivate. Only those reasons. So if we change that and your knowledge, then it will help. So yes, today we're talking about always we think is real, the color and shape, the smell and sound, everything you analyze it scientifically is not true. And the science then answer why then is only you have the illusion because you have this eyes, sense of eyes, and the outside something outside. From these two interdependently, you had that illusion. Or they say, or only this in the brand, not outside, the color and the shape. What you think, and you always you think is real, and we have a great attachment. It's only in your brain. That's the saying. But if you then analyze the brain, the same thing happened. But why scientists say brain? Because they didn't analyze the mind. I mean, they maybe analyze it, but it's mind you cannot analyze very well in material way. So when they don't know that, and then you think brain knows everything. So mind is function of the brain. And Buddhism saying mind is a separate entity than brain, material, any material. Science saying no, mind is only function of the brain. But then through the meditation, experiment, everything, more, scientists coming toward what Buddha said. Still, the mainstream scientists, they're still not agreeing, of course. The reason not agreeing, of course, you guys know. But that means where scientists arrived now is similar of Cittamātra view, but less than Cittamātra. What is similar is scientists know I understood all object things. What appear is not true. They have no doubt on that. But maybe it's not 100%. Still, they're searching. And then reason to the quantum field, when they understand, and then very close to the Cittamātra. The only difference is Cittamātra's point of view, the mind is creator for everything, or this illusion. Is similar of the God who believed creator God is similar. The mind is the creator everything. The only things quantum physics still not saying that yet, but becoming individually believing like that, almost. But the mainstream still, of course, they don't officially recognize that yet. Let me correct if I'm wrong, but that's as far as my small understood. But then above over the Cittamātra is Madhyamika school in Buddhism. So Madhyamika school saying, Cittamātra, everything you said is right. But the only thing you not right is mind is a creator. Mind is absolute truth. That's only you wrong. Everything is right. They're saying that. But that's still arguable. In general, Cittamātra is lower than Madhyamika. But in many ways, Cittamātra is more higher than Madhyamika. Not all Madhyamika, but some of the Madhyamika. That's how, like that, we already discussed in Taranatha Jantong, and we will discuss, but not tonight. So tonight, I just want to simply introduce both matter and mind. Madhyamika point of view is again illusion. Comparatively, mind is more true than matter, materia. Mind is more powerful than materia. But the both is not absolute truth. If you understand both is essenceless, mere absence, and then you understood the real emptiness. So if you understand that intellectually, then is similar of the way of scientists understand or color and shape or illusion. But you have a realization of emptiness impacting your life, incredibly impacting. You need to realize, not only intellectually understand. So all the Tibetan Buddhism meant to be a Madhyamika point of view, not any other. That means everybody claims all Madhyamika, the highest. However, if you go great details, then inside have some argument. So today we distinguish in this argument. That called Rangtong and Jantong, Tibetan words. Rangtong means self-empty or essenceless, empty of essenceless. Jantong means empty of other. Empty of other means the knowledge is very easy. I'm empty of you, you empty of me. The car is empty of computer. Or you can say cars, let's say something. Sometimes car also have computer, so you could mistake. So let's say the car is empty of horse, because that means the car is not horse. Like knowledge very easy. Not think something not understandable. Ranton means self-empty means, oh, car not exist, horse not exist, nothing exist. Okay? But important when Buddha, all Buddhism, no matter what school, everybody shares the true truth. Everybody believe there is true truth. One is ultimate truth, one is relative truth, which we already talk about. That's no argument. So, all the relative truth we already talk about is illusion, mirror absence, not really truly exist. This both agreeing. The school, Janton and Ranton, both agree. That means both agree all our five senses, object, and our conceptual world, everything is self-empty, empty itself, essenceless. They both agreeing. No arguments. The only arguments they come, the ultimate truth. So if you say ultimate truth, you can understand Buddha nature, another language. Because Buddha nature, everybody agree we all have Buddha nature. That means Ranton and Janton both, they agree we all sentient beings have Buddha nature. Remember? They both agree, everybody have Buddha nature. They both agree there is ultimate truth, which means Buddha nature. Okay? So now the argument is only, is the ultimate truth self-empty or empty of other? So the Ranton was saying self-empty. True truth, both of them is self-empty. Include Buddha nature, have to be self-empty. When I talk in this, some people thinking, oh no, that's not true. Some Rantonpa don't say that. If somebody claims they are Rantonpa and not saying that, then it's not real Rantonpa. But if you are real Rantonpa, you have to say that. Because you are Rantonpa, you are self, because a relative truth, you have no argue. Both agreeing. The ultimate truth, you disagree in. So for your point of view, the ultimate truth also have to be self-empty, essenceless, mirror absent. So in that case, Jantonpa point of view, you have a big problem. Why? Because you understanding that both two truth, both Buddha nature and samsara. Mirror absence. That means both equal. That is the big, greatest of misunderstanding, greatest of the wrong view. That's Jamphel point of view. Think. Then who is the 100% understand Jamphel is Dolpopa Sherab Gyaltsen. Why I told you, remember? Buddha himself prophesies many times he is the Dharma Victoria. So that is why. He did exactly what Buddha said in his life. Okay, so now we're going to through his text. I want to go very simple way, otherwise people confuse. Think about like this. Dolpopa is crying, huge sobbing, crying. If you ask, why are you crying? Because he said, oh, there's so much wrong view. So many views wrong. Those who claims they are very high, they are still very, very wrong. That's why I'm crying. If you say, okay, why is that important? Then he's saying the most important is view is not wrong. Because if view wrong, then your practice is going to be wrong, and then your conduct is going to be wrong, and then wrong everything. And then bad consequences, the heaviest consequences. That's he said. So imagine he's crying, sobbing, out of the compassion, out of the kindness. Okay, he said this. Lama dan kom chok som la sorande so shinji lab sor. He pray, Lama and 3 jewels, please help us, help them. They are the wrong human. Then he identify each one. He said, Namshi yeshi chik dan churwandan manyareji. Sorwandev shinji lab sor. All of them, the last prayer say, he prayer from the bottom of his heart, and please bless them to understand the right view. So I'm not repeat this again, okay? Every sentence have this. The first sentence he said, he's very sad because people mixed Namshi and Yeshi, which means the primordial awareness and the normal awareness, which means normal concept and the mind. Okay? So when we're talking about Buddha, he's not talking about the Buddha Shakyamuni, this historical Buddha. He's not talking about that. He's talking about the ultimate Buddha. We already we have that Buddha nature. Why he said that? All same reason. I tell you all same reason today. Then is you not confused. Because both true truth equally self-empty, remember? And that means the primordial wisdom and normal knowledge, you make the same thing. That's why he cried. The second one say, so you mistake what is self-empty and what is empty of other. Why he said you mistake? Because Buddha himself said many times, Buddha nature itself is not self-empty. Is empty of other, which means only empty of samsara. But still they're mixing. So that's why he's saying, you cannot even distinguish self-empty or empty of other. You put together the samsara and Buddha nature. And which means you value it equally. And you think have to be both empty the self. Then he said, so he said, you mistake because Buddha nature is a suchness. And the samsara is phenomenal, which means one is the base, one is only appearance, which means one is the truth, one is appearance. But you make the same thing. Why you make the same thing? Because you make both self-empty. Then he said, so middle way or extreme, for you is the same. Why? Because you saying both true truth have to be empty, empty self. That means you are extreme. But you still claim you are a middle way. Okay, middle way means Madhyamika. So basically you said, you claim Madhyamika, but you are not Madhyamika because you are extremist. Because you put a same position, both Buddha nature and samsara. Because, yeah, that's he said. And also you put in the same position and what is artificial and what is, how do you say it goes, simultaneous or unfabricated, which means Buddha nature is unfabricated and then samsara is artificial. But for you is both equal because both of same essenceless. And then he said, Lodrö control. Lodrö means temporary and or the primordial. You mistake both because for you is primordial and the temporary is same position. Because the Buddha nature is primordial and the samsara is temporary, but for you is both essenceless. I'm not going into too much details. I put it on this then so you can understand. So also he's saying you mistake because you put the same value, you mistake the imputation and the perfect nature. Because Buddha nature is perfect nature, and the samsara, everything else is what do you call, oh yeah, the imputation. Why? Because for you is the same. Both self-emptiness. Okay? So, and also he's saying, you afflictions and the virtues or non-virtues, you can say virtues and non-virtues, you mistake same thing. Which means the ultimate virtues is Buddha nature. But when we say, that's why Buddha nature, doesn't matter you say anger or jealous or whatever you say, is still Buddha nature. But you misunderstand like no more jealous anger. Why? Because you think both self-empty, both need negating to reach Buddhahood. There's no Buddhahood anyway. In that point of view. And say you also samsara and the nirvana, you mistaken, same. Because Rinpoche don't believe the old nature nirvana, which means Buddha nature. So you think this Buddha nature and samsara both need emptify both equally. Negating both. Why they do these things? Because the second Dharma will have a emphasize on everything emptify, everything negated, and so then they think everything is negated. Of course, they have some church. Remember, the scientists understand that the all colors, shapes is a delusion, but they still there is something. So similarly, based on that, they mistake. So similarly, Rinpoche can misunderstand because Buddha's second Dharma, well, everything is emptified, emphasize emptiness and negating. So then they mistake this. And he said, Dzokden Dzokden means the suffering nature and the original of suffering. That called Dzokden. Dzokden means the cessation. You mistake this both because again you think need emptify both essenceless. Okay, because the Rinpoche, the nirvana, the cessation is not permanent. How do you say? Not always there, like Buddha nature. Basically, Buddha nature they don't call nirvana. That's why. Shinang Jan Chukchi Khentrul Rinpoche. Shinang Jan means in Kalachakra, you say external Kalachakra, internal Kalachakra, the other Kalachakra. This is a Janton point of view. The external and the universe the internal individuals in inner universe, both appears in that level, you can say, that level of truth, you can say the Kalachakra. But the real Kalachakra is the other, the enlightened Kalachakra. All this appears because of that. Jantongpa point of view, they know the relationship, but they mistake all of them same. All of them need to emptify, to negate. So that's the mistake. So even the quality and the false you mistake as equal, which means no more afflictions, all faults. Of course, we need abandon. We need elimination. But they don't understand the Buddha nature. You don't need eliminate. You emptify means is you eliminating. So that means that the faults and the quality you see as equal. Both need elimination. You're talking about the ultimate quality, not talking about the temporary quality. Zakchi Zarmit. So Zakchi Zarmit, how to translate? Zakchi Zarmit. Imputed, contaminated. Contaminated and not contaminated, you see that as equal. Buddha nature is not contaminated, never, ever, and samsara is contaminated. You see as equal, both need to emptify. Tripchi Trimit, pure and impure, also you see same. The Buddha nature pure, absolute pure, and the samsara not pure at all. You see that the same, need both emptify. That means even the goodness and the bad, you see that the same. All of them easy, okay, if you understand, because all good things, we're talking about the ultimate good, ultimate everything, Buddha nature, he's saying. This and the normal things, you put the same value because you need emptify both. You need negate in both. You claiming both is essenceless. Self-empty means essenceless. That's saying, okay, I'm not going the many reasons of those things. I try to simple way to introducing you. Just the self-empty or empty other. That's the reason. Only two things that remember, then you know. That means he said, you mistake. You mistake means you put the same value, unborn and born. Things born and unborn. Because the Buddha nature is unborn. Because born means before not exist and then exist, right? So Buddha nature is not like that all the time, always there. So that's what unborn Buddha nature and born things like samsara. You put the same value. Shi means created or something is not created. Samsara is created created by mind, remember? Another way you can say it's not 100% correct, but for temporarily to understand, correct by Buddha nature. Not correct, okay, 100%. Just rough idea. And what is created is samsara. Basically, you understand, you misunderstood creator and what is created. You put it in the same position. You mistake what is came and not came. Buddha nature is, there's no such thing came, because already everything. And samsara is comes and goes. Everything is samsara, or you can say, oh, everything this illusion is comes and goes. Nothing is permanent. But you put it the same value. Jig means something that you can destroy. Manjik means something indestructible. You put it the same value. Buddha nature is indestructible, and samsara, or this illusion, is destructible. But you put it the same value, both is essenceless, self-empty. Something is immutable and mutable. Something is can move, something cannot move, which means similar like that, impermanent, unstableness. Samsara is unstable and move. And Buddha nature is immutable. But you put it the same value. And he says, concept is as conceptual phenomenon, and something go beyond conceptual, you mistake as the same. Yeah, because when we say, Jantomba say Buddha nature, the ultimate truth is permanent, not dependent, not interdependent, is independent. Then people have really freaking out. People think, oh, that means you are non-Buddhist or you are Hindu, and oh, terrible. Why they saying this? Because you put the same position, same shoe, as samsara, as conception. That's why. Then he say, conceptual phenomenon, which means sentient being, and Buddha, you must take same way, because both self-empty, essenceless. And so you say the Dharmakaya and the conceptual mind, you put it the same position. That we have, you know, we have even the exact language. We have many Rantomba point of view. There are terms. They say Nam Tokchurke. So, so that means you mistake like the skin or the essence you have to think about something, fruits or something. The most essence is in midair. We can think the most essence is the seed, yeah, right? Because seed you can grow again, the most essence. Whatever, doesn't matter. Or skin is important or the essence important. When we eat fruits, the skin we throw away. Some fruits you don't have to skin throw away, but some you have to. Is that the skin and the essence, which one is important? Buddha nature is the essence, and the samsara, all phenomena, include the virtues, samsaric virtues, I mean, all is like skin. But for you, the same value. For you means Rangtongpa. For you, both you put same position, same value. Both need amplify. That he says, signature. So you mistake the truth and false. Because the samsara is false. The Buddha nature is the ultimate truth. But you put it in the same position because you want to amplify both. You identify both essenceless, self-empty. You have to negate them. That is, you put the same equal view as something trustworthy and an untrustworthy. You put the same position, same value. Isn't it crazy? And not only that, you put same position, same value, something is exist and not exist. That means Buddha nature is the only exist, the ultimately, the absolute level, only Buddha nature exists, everything else not exist at all. When we say, oh, it is relative to the samsara, my body, my mind, the universe, everything we say exist, we agree and exist. That means we're not saying they are not illusion. We know they are all illusion, even through the science. But we say still exist, still is true, because we have only reason. The reason is still make differences for us. Just same as color and shape, not there at all. No objectively exist at all. Only subjective in our mind for us appears exist, but not exist. But still we call the truth. Why? Because it makes sense, make differences for us. Your room or everything, anything, make nice color, shape, everybody like. And this bad shape, bad color, we don't like. Makes differences for us, even is illusion. That's the only reason we say is true, is relative truth. No other reason. But if we take that reason away, or that's not enough to identify true, then everything is not true except Buddha nature. Because Buddha nature, you cannot do that, impossible. You cannot negate it. You cannot go beyond negating, go beyond challenging. Okay? So that's why illusion and not illusion, you make the same position. So that means actually the suffering and bliss, you put in the same position. Because the ultimate Buddha nature is the immutable bliss. And samsara is suffering nature. You can't put both essenceless, self-empty. He said, the karmic forms and the Buddha form, you cannot misunderstand. Same thing. You cannot put the same position. Why we all of saying all these things? Dolpopa, why saying all this many? He tried to understand for us. If you believe both true truth equally is self-empty, then this happens. Then we agree in distance. Is the same as we agree in distance. Then we agree in something is we need abandon or something we need adopt. We put the same position. And also, if we put true truth is the same position as the self-empty, then same as, let's say, if we wash cloth, which means we separating the dirtiness from the cloth. We don't have to throw away the cloth. We need only dirtiness from the cloth. So Buddha nature is the cloth and the samsara is the dirtiness. But if you put the same position as both self-empty, then you don't wash cloth, you throw away the cloth. You not clean the table, you just throw away cloth, throw away the table. Then he says, which means the result of from something, result of from conditions or unconditional result. You cannot make same. Which means Buddha nature is unconditioned. Result means result of unveiling, not result of to cultivate. Unveiling means we cannot fear the Buddha nature right now because we need to unveil the dirtiness we have. So Buddha nature is a result of the unveiling. That's only for individually, but in general, there's nothing to unveil. But for individuals' delusion, we have to unveil this. So Buddha nature is only result of unveiling only for individuals. But anything else have to cultivate. Is have to make a cause and conditions to have the effects. You put the both same position. If you say in both is self-empty. On another way, you must take something is I have not English vocabulary enough, I think. Shit. Okay, leave that one. So the five positions and the five primordial wisdom, you must take because you put the same position, both equal. That is similar is you must take the nocturnal. Nocturnal means in Buddhism have big meaning. It's not just a flower liquid. Nocturnal means we named nocturnal, but in Buddhism, nocturnal means is something enlightened drinking. Okay, so that nocturnal and the posing you put in the same position. It's like that. Then also you put is like a same position and the light and the darkness. Because you put in same position, both self-empty, both truth. It's like that. You say all lights and darkness same. That's something impossible. They're doing this. And also similar of you put in the same position your enemy and the great beloved one. Enemy means, you know, it's not like just your mind made up enemy. You know, who is the most harmful, the most dear one, you put in the same position. Similar that's his example. So Khenjit level of Khenjit means something you can distinguish. Level means there is nothing to distinguish. Don't need it. So you put it the same position. Because samsara, all samsaric phenomena, we need distinguish what is virtues, what is not virtues. What is we need abandon, what is we adopt, what is we need cultivate, what is we need eliminate. That kind of. But in Buddha nature, there's no such thing. You need cultivate, you need eliminate. Is already perfect. Remember perfect nature. The ultimate perfect, not just we saying, oh, sometimes, oh, perfect. Not like that. So if you put it the same position, then is much idiot, right? That means if you put a Buddha nature and the samsara is both is self-empty, then you put like a jitop nyamjak. Nyamjak means when you are meditation absorption, that time you experience in the ultimate truth. And after you finish the meditation, you are not absorbed. You have conceptual mind. That time your idea of emptiness, you cannot take as the same. Okay. Your idea could be empty itself, but your experience, the Buddha nature, you cannot put up empty itself. The real Buddha nature I'm talking about. So the another way, yes, we need to emptify everything. First, we use scientific idea to understand the process. Then we need cultivating a merit, cultivating oneself inside, not like scientists and always looking outside, focus outside. And then we can emptify, yes, all samsara is truly not exist, nor myself not exist, the phenomenon not exist. We have to not only understand it here, but we have to experience in our heart. If we do that, then is a real improve. Not like, oh, I am so educated, so scholar, or so clever business. Not that kind of improvement. Is real improvements. That we need a lot of cultivation. Kindness, love. So much we need. But many people mistake because analytically, even don't have like scientific experiment. This incredible deep things you can't really you can't experiment. You don't have experience, you don't have experiment, proof, evidence. You just have analytically, you understand. This kind of emptiness is still, you negate, finally. But the real experience in Buddha nature is already absence of samsara. That's why we call it janton, other emptiness of samsara. That's why emptiness of other. Naturally. So to experience this is our real life experiencing. And then we try to emptify in the conceptual mind or scientific experiment is like children playing, not real life experience. So that's why you can't mistake these two together. The post meditation it's not a real experience. the absorption of an emptiness or Buddha nature, we say, that is a real experience. That is absorption. Then he say, he's really, really so sorry for them. So many conditions to their mistake and wrong way. So all Buddhas, please help them. So then he talk about why they mistake. He said, Dzokden Chudang Manjirvar. Why they mistake? Of course, many reasons, but the main reason, because they haven't reached the completion golden Dharma. They only meet the Dharma 3/4 correct, or two quarters correct, or 1/4 correct. That kind of Dharma they meet only. So he said, Chula Huang Shiba Nunyanreji. Another word, if we very simplify mundane way, he said, oh, this brainwash people, oh, I'm feel so sorry for them. You know, when they like Dolpopa, so sorry means is great compassion, not like we just say, oh, sorry for them, and then we forget about them. It's not like that. He really cares. The most he cares. Chula Huangdu Shibanam Nyangreji means they believed what they say. Somebody say mistakes, they believe that. Somebody say means only 3/4 correct, or the 2/4 correct, or 1/4 correct. That kind of Dharma believe in. He's saying this. Please rescue them. Why something is not, they think is yes. Why? One is they are bad habit. Very strong, far kind of habit. We don't go details this. We have no time. So that is so powerful. That's why they didn't understood. They who be semchenken. So under cheating of these sentient beings, cheating of from these sentient beings, really I care. Please, all Buddha Dharma, help them, rescue them. For instance, he said, the most cherished children burn under fire. The parents look at them, how you can bear. He said he felt like this for these people. Why I did this prayer? Because I, cannot bear this. Who people misunderstand this, still claim very high view. So that's why he do this. Lalis don't work artists. Some people think, oh, you don't like us, you putting down us. That kind of mistake possible. So he said, no, the most joy for me is if you have the right path, right view. That's the most precious care about myself. Why the reason of it like this? Because Buddha said, even you have some ethical problems, that is not big problem. Compare you have the view problem, wrong views. So please, the most important is your view. That Buddha said. He said, that kind of Buddha said many. So he didn't say everything here. He said, means, oh my God, like whatever you call it, oh, that is terrible. That kind of Nigmitu, which means the Kali Yoga time. Chapartavi Nigma, those, especially this view of the wrong view. For this reason, there is many of wrong views. Conduct wrong even more. He said there's even more numbers. Whatever the both wrong conduct and wrong view, please all area beings, please hear them and see them and rescue them. Please help all Buddhas, bodhisattvas, to help their improve their view, improve their conduct and completion. That's his prayer. So this prayer is the definitive, most definitive prayer. Taranatha ni Dolpopa Sherab Gyaltsen ki kupao di kyang tamba dans simchala pambi. Oh, this also may this help all Dharma and sentient being. Okay, so we finished. So you can have short questions.
Okay. If you'd like to ask a question, you can ask it in the Q&A area. I'll just start with a few that, Rinpoche, you already touched on some of these things, but people asked anyway. So I think the clarification could help. Some people want to understand a little bit more. If we already have the complete Buddha nature now, why are we not already Buddha?
Okay. We already Buddha. Okay. We are already Buddha, but you have to understand the we means which one you referring. Okay. If you referring the ultimate truth, then is we already Buddha and we always Buddha, we has been Buddha always, and we will always be Buddha and never change, impossible. But the problem when we referring, we means we referring to the illusion. So the illusion is never existed. Yeah, this is a little profound. I mean, not very easy to understand. But there's no other better than that answer.
Yeah, which goes into one of the next questions that someone wanted clarification. So as you've been talking about negating existence, when we say things are conventionally empty, are we not negating also the whole idea of the conventional relative reality? So are we then negating that Rinpoche and us and the Zoom also do not exist?
Yes, you can say do not exist at all, depending on where you comparing. If you comparing the, next truth, then is this not exist at all? You should not affirmate to say this. Yeah, if you affirmate, that means you are confused. You mixing things, and that's why it's you think this is not right. It's same thing what we have said everything. This is only exist one level. One level exists also. We saying the reason because make differences for us. The Zoom make differences for us. When I talking make differences for you, and you listening make differences for you and for me. Okay, so that's the only reason we say this level is the truth. But you compare others, then it does not exist at all.
Okay, so the next question is, where does Buddha nature come from?
You don't need to come from. The only thing you don't need to come from is not come from. Is if they have to come from, then you not be, before not exist, and then come, then exist. Somebody create or some conditions, cause and conditions. It go beyond cause and condition. That's why you need. That's why we say permanent, not independent. So you have to understand that.
So there's still a little confusion around what's the difference between emptiness and nothingness.
Okay, that's I always say. You should think the same thing. Your core idea, fundamental idea, you should think emptiness is nothingness. Think of that. Then you inside emptiness, you can make distinguishes. What, for instance, other emptiness or empty itself. Then you say empty itself means, okay, nothingness. If you are empty itself, then of course you're not empty of other. Think of that. There's no other for you. Okay? But if you are empty of other, then you don't have to be empty itself. But your core idea, emptiness, you should think nothingness, mirror absence. You should think that way.
Okay, Rinpoche, we're both speaking too fast for the translators. So
Okay, sorry.
Both
yes,
you and
I know. When we is enthusiastic, then very fast.
Very
so
fast.
I try to make slow.
Okay.
Say again. You want to say again?
I don't think so. I just think they asked us both to slow down. So one of the questions, this one comes up often when we talk about Other-Emptiness. So this question is, how do we help the Rangtong people? What do we do, or how can could they see this?
Let them read the Dolpopa's text. Or so many texts you can let them read. Let them, have other ideas, not only what you know. Or you can explain if you can. But some people are very easy to offend. So you just tell them, just read this different idea. I'm not trying to convince you anything. So you just read this idea. So then maybe good for you. You don't have to agree with, but just read this. Or if you like, I tell you other idea, and then you talk the Dolpopa point of view. I think you can find the search. You can find on YouTube somebody explain the differentiate very well, but you have to be careful because some people maybe make more confused.
So another question that comes up often with the other-emptiness. What is the difference then between the other-emptiness view and the Advaita Vedanta view? The Vedantic view of like wholeness or oneness.
Dante.
The Vedanta, the Vedic.
Oh, Vedanta. Okay.
Yeah.
The other emptiness, the Buddha nature, you can say oneness. You can say also go beyond one, or you can say go beyond single or plural. And sometimes you can say oneness. But if you say go beyond one and plural is more correct than oneness. But oneness is a good process because in samsara there is no one, impossible. So to understand those few steps, I think this oneness is good. So that means that part may be similar.
Okay, so another question around Buddha nature. If it's the only thing that's permanent and has existence, then wouldn't that mean that the illusion has to come from Buddha nature?
No, not come from Buddha nature, but there is room for we can have the illusion, and we also can free from the illusion. All of these rooms and the possibilities because of Buddha nature. But you have to understand because of Buddha nature or come from Buddha nature, very different. As a law, these things is because of Buddha nature. That you can say. But that's also not the really ultimate level. So the ultimate level is the best things that never had. Samsara and the illusion never had. We have to understand the never had. Okay? But that is too much, then you can say, oh, because all of them exist, a law exists because of Buddha nature. Depend how much we can take our limitation.
So Rinpoche, for people who want to practice Kalachakra or follow you, do they have to hold this other-emptiness view in order to practice and in order to take you as a teacher?
No. You take a teacher means also you can take many levels of teacher. And then this is not like business dare. It is a process. How much degrees you agree in, you can take that much. Naturally, not forcefully, not like deal and sign up, not like that. Naturally, how much degrees you can agree. You can take that level of relationship.
So there's a couple questions about the Buddha nature. And is this Buddha nature, it sounds like it's beyond time and space. It's beyond some point in space. They're wondering if this is correct, if it's beyond it, or if it exists somewhere in space, or how is it
beyond everything, not just time and space, beyond of everything. That means it's not one. When I say oneness is not correct, because not fully correct, because is everything, one thing, everything, or non-contradiction. That is Buddha nature. And sake of language, when we say everything, means or everything bad, or bad things, or suffering and everything. Not the real suffering and bad things, no. That's sake of language, you know. But to, you know, like, to, how to say, and everything else, yes, but not the, you know, like, how to call it, not real suffering or no bad things have a bad consequence. That kind of bad, good things, no. Another language, all bad things in Buddha felt was good. All suffering, everything, anger, great jealous, all afflictions are still named in Buddha field, but not our illusion anger and illusion bad things, not like that.
Okay, so how can it be experienced, such a perfect nature of this ultimate truth or Dharmakaya, by imperfect temporary beings like us?
Because imperfect beings are temporary and they are only created, and the Buddha nature is not temporary, is not created. So which one you think more powerful? Which one easy to experience?
Okay, so if we have an insight, how do we know our insight is correct or that it deviates from this view? If we have an insight experience, how would we know it was right?
As long as leading you a strength, you know, giving you a strength and enjoy blissful, then cannot be wrong. It's very easy to judge. Anything leading to like kind of temporary excitement, but leading to weakness, then is wrong. Samsaric pleasures like this, samsaric pleasures maybe not 100%, but most of them lead into weakness. That doesn't mean you cannot have any pleasure in samsara, okay? But if we are obsessed on that, then it's leading to weakness.
Okay, so it's getting a little bit late, Rinpoche, so we'll kind of start to wrap up the questions. There is still some questions around. Can you give people a little explanation? What was the text that you were referring to throughout this?
Okay.
And why you chose that one?
I choose this one. Firstly, Dolpopa, how cares and genuinely incredible, you know, like if we can see the Dolpopa's kindness and compassion, if we see, cannot fit in this universe. That much he cares. He shows these expressions. This is a very unusual expression, doesn't have those others, okay? So that's the reason I show you. So then also the other reason, this is mainly for the teachings of the Taranatha. And these people confuse, studied and understood. So that's why we made this. So the next time, I hope they understand what is the Ranton Janton, because we bring many, many points today. We only focus what is the Ranton Janton, what is the self-empty and other empty. Basically, we today, all day we talk about is both two truth, self-empty, then is wrong. Samsara self-empty, Buddha nature empty, only empty of other, not empty itself, then is right. We only this one point we explained. So that's I see as key points. I never seen this anybody emphasize this other than Dolpopa. In this way, exactly, I mean, you know. So that's why I thought this is very important to distinguish Ranton Janton. And also, when you come to the samsara, negating everything, negating self, person, and self phenomenal, then is both Ranton and Janton equally valuable. But to come to the Buddha nature, then Ranton Bas seems like a little bit confused. Not every single Ranton Bas person I'm talking about, but actually, when I'm talking Ranton Bas, most of them, they're not wrong, but they are not Ranton Bas. That's I see. They think Ranton Bas. So why they holding Ranton Bas? Even they are not Ranton Bas. That's a kind of I see.
I think we'll take one last set of questions from the Mandarin WeChat group. So the questions are still, what is the relationship between Jintong view and Buddha nature? And the other question is a little more Kalachakra specific. So what is the difference between the appearance and emptiness the combination, the empty form and the Jintong view.
Okay. The relationship of Buddha nature and Jintong is Jintong referred to the third Dharma well and the Tantrayana. Because in that all Buddha natures, saying is like Jintong way, not empty, not independent, is innumerable quality. All these things said. That's the relationship. Okay? And then second Dharma well and the other Dharmas, they're not saying anything. Almost not saying nothing. Only talking about how to emptify samsara. Not talking about Buddha nature. Maybe only names a little bit. That's all. And then the other question is,
They're wondering about the empty form, the relationship with the empty forms and the Jintong view.
oh, this is a big, very big answer. Because when we say empty form, if you try to match with quantum physics, then you have a lot of discussion. We not talk about this today. The traditionally, what means empty form, simple way to explain, the normal, ordinary emptiness is mere absence, remember? But the great Jintongpa explanation emptiness is the empty form. So that means in enlightened level, Buddha nature level, form and empty contradiction, not contradiction, non-contradiction. And in the samsara normal world, form and empty contradiction. Absolutely contradiction. So why? Because one is perfect, so that's why nothing is a contradiction. Everything can together. Can not only together, everything in the union. And samsara, I cannot be you, you cannot be me, coffee cannot be bread, bread cannot be coffee. Car cannot be tree, tree cannot be computer. Yeah, everything is a if then is not same. So like that, that's simple way of answer.
Okay.